Today our guests believe that we're going to talk about the Book of Shadows. But secretly we have... I'm just kidding. No, this is not one of them kind of shows. This is Coffee with Lady Leeanna. And it is good to see you, Mystic Witch. How are you doing? I think that I have my settings set up wrong because this is not my usual way. And
well, everything's right here. You've got your live chat. You've got your live chat. You've got the stream hell.
That's true. It's working.
I mean.
And Austin. Mystic Witch says hello.
Hi.
I was joking around just before you came into the room, Mystic Witch, and I don't know if you caught it, but I said, our guests that are coming into the room soon believe that we are doing a show about the Book of Shadows. But secretly, now, then I turned around and I said, but this isn't one of those shows. So, no, we're not pulling any fast ones on you guys that are coming into the room. Although it is an idea, so watch yourselves.
Hey, Raven.
Hi, Raven. How are you doing? Lady Raven in the house. Anyway, y'all caught us just waking the hell up. We are a couple of sleepyheads. She said, yeah, I got it. I heard that shit.
Good morning, Talon.
Hey, Talon. How's it going? What you up to this morning? And Omira. We're going to bid everybody hello coming into the house, starting out like 2 minutes earlier each day, because you guys are earlier than we are all the time. And, well, today we are blessed with the presence of my lovely husband once more, and getting this thing taken off. And today we are going to talk about the Book of Shadows, how it can be made, what are the best ways, what you might want to do previously to writing your stuff within your Book of Shadows to prevent you from making a bunch of nasty scribbles in there. They can't be taken out if you have to be using a bound book, you know, the blank bound books.
It's 9:30 here, 9:30 in the morning.
You mean 10:30?
No, it's 9:30 in
Oh, it's 9:30
Texas.
here where we are. So the coffee with Lady Leeanna is at 10:30 where you are. What state were you in? Was it what state was Mystic Witch in?
It would have to be Eastern U.S. or probably like Quebec, Canada, I would imagine.
Good morning, Nicole. It's good to see you. Right on time and like clockwork. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Book of Shadows today. I was going to do a show based on fairyland creatures, mythological creatures, some would call it, and all of that. Ooh. Salem, Massachusetts. Oh, we have a Salem witch in the house. All right, that is just too cool. But yeah, I was going to do a show regarding the fairyland creatures, fairies, elves, gnomes, dwarfs, mermaids, etc., etc. But I'm going to wait on that topic a day or two. Hi, Cloud. How are you doing?
I have a level 70 night elf.
Do you? On what game? I think he's been playing a bit too much of his games lately. Me too. Actually, we didn't get to sleep till late last night because we were up playing games and trying to work out glitches and technological equipments. Nicole thinks you're funny. I think you're hilarious, baby. Let's see. Who does the eye belong to on Cloud Dancer? One day you'll just have to show me who you are. Skyrim takes up a lot of my spare time, says Nicole. Actually, I just set up a Twitch streaming account for us people so that we could go in and I could be playing games and answering questions also at another area of my time, like in the evening where I'm at and all of that. Let's see. And that information was, what is that, a new account I set up?
Ask a Witch.
Oh, it's called Ask a Witch on Twitch, by the way. That is my new account on Twitch. And so you can follow me and subscribe to me on Twitch now. And it'll alert you whenever I'm going to be on there, or when I'm going on there, actually. And you can be in the room with me. You can help moderate, answer any questions for any of the new people that would be coming in on Twitch live stream. Because as you would know on there's a lot of little gamer chicks and dudes that go into the rooms on there. And my name screams out, and my channel screams out, that it's witches and Wiccans that can answer questions for them. And so any of you guys are welcome to answer any questions whenever you know the answer and you're in my Twitch room there, our Twitch room, while I've got it streaming. And so I've got that going on, and there's a YouTube channel that goes with it likewise. Actually, that would be still being set up, but we have a lot going on with all of that. Facebook would be the standard Leeanna Facebook that you're on already. And what else? But anyway, I thought those would be pretty cool. We have the new camera equipment in, the brand new camera. And so that's looking really snug. The picture looks a lot better.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. And so I'm really, really happy about this new camera. However, we are still, regrettably, having to try to work on getting the ability to be able to interview people here on the channel. And we're really looking forward to that. But it's proven to be a little more troublesome than what we thought in trying to get that equipment together to do the interviews with, say, you guys or anybody that has a specialty and wants to share that on the show. And it looks like it'll be limited to one person per show being able to be interviewed due to the fact of the equipment and what it can actually do. And I'm finding that out. And that's a little kick in the pants, but I am doing the best I can. And there's a lot of you interesting guys here on the show, and I am just way too interested in interviewing you so that other people can have a share of your information, that which you have, that you could give to them. Let's see. Mystic Witch, my first book of shadows as a baby witch, was all written in pencil. And that's one thing I suggest a lot of people to do before they implement their book into their bound book. That way you can know how it's going to go, how it's going to be on paper, and whenever it's set in stone for you, then you can mark it out, you can get rid of it, and you can write it out in pen.
It's also nice because if you write it multiple times, then it burns it into your memory.
It'll set into your subconscious and your conscious a lot better if you write it, and you need to speak up a little louder too.
I was just saying that writing it several times is kind of nice because it burns it into your memory. Not only are you writing it in pencil, but you're writing it in pen for your bound book. And so if you forget it, if you do happen to forget it, then you've still got it written in two places, ideally,
right.
Somewhere.
In your mind, you mean?
Well, in your mind, on the pencil, and on the pen in your bound book.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest. Is keep a notebook, write it down in your notebook, all your thoughts. Let it reshape there for a couple of months. Then leave it maybe the rest of 8 months, and then add it to your bound book 1 year after you came up with the idea, or the 8 months afterward. And that way you know it's going to be there permanently. That way you know that you're putting it how exactly you would like it to be, and so forth. So those are good answers. I don't suggest necessarily that you do a bound book right away. You can always do your books and not so bound books, and then you can implement them. Then you can take them to have them bound into a book after you have enough to fill a book, and you can have several different books of shadows covering several different topics. Or you could use sleeves. But I'm a big believer in not having too much metal within your Book of Shadows, because I feel that when you take that Book of Shadows into a circle, then the metal in it would draw a lot of the energy out from what you're trying to send it into and prevent it from doing its full capacity work. So less metals within the Book of Shadows I feel is very important. And Nicole says, I keep a little notebook in my purse for notes and little things I want to add to my BOS. By the way, BOS, for those that are new, BOS means Book of Shadows. It is the acronym, and it's being used mainly online more than anything, and being carried out, I guess, is a usual thing in the world nowadays. So you may hear it in covenants and cliques where you are.
Yeah, that's what I like to do.
What's that? What?
I like to keep another notebook around, and then you can add it later.
Keep a notebook around when you need, and it could be a spiral notebook, or it could be a ring binder. At that point, I like to keep a ring binder. That way I could take the page out, and I can take the page only into the circle. I won't lose my place, or won't have metal within the circle by taking a page in there. After I'm through with the spell, then I'll put it back in the ring binder. Later on, I will implement it into a more steadfast book where you can't add or take things away from. Good morning, Kardaki. It's nice to see you, and welcome in from Facebook. It's good to see some friends from Facebook, as always.
Also, I like that my small notebook matches my purse.
Do what? Your purse? Are you keeping a purse, honey? Is there anything that you would like to bestow me as a bit of information after 8 years of being together? I think he's freaking me out. No, I knew he was joking. But, let's see. I don't like putting metals in my book because metals attract a lot of energies, wanted and unwanted, and that's the point I was making also. Also, it would prevent your energy from going out to wherever it needs to be. So Mystic Witch agrees with me that there are several reasons why you shouldn't want to keep metals in your Book of Shadows within your circle. However, your bound book, you can write everything in pen, but if you're going to have a spiral notebook, try to memorize your spell so you're not taking all that metal into your circle. What's in his cup this morning? You had to ask. No, it's just coffee.
Nope.
Fortunately. Oh, you taking a nip?
Or unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Nah, we in the mornings we're not really drinkers anyway. How are you doing, Mighty? It's good to see you this morning. And yes, I am looking over at the TV whenever I'm trying to talk to you guys. Still haven't adjusted to the fact that the camera is the eye, and it could look really freaky to y'all if I'm talking from the side of my eyes or some shit, And like I said, we rolled right out of bed at 9:05 and then had to race around to get everything together, get coffee made. After all, what is coffee with Lady Leeanna if you don't have any coffee for the cup? Let's see. The Mighty says, the second dream I dreamt that we had mice in the house. That morning my wife went to work and visited a house that had a mouse infestation. What does this mean? Like I said in a show a day or two ago, you need a lot more information in being able to interpret dreams. Mice are kind of like civilization within, or uncivilization within civilization. It's like, I guess, about the same thing that you would attribute to a dog being something from the wild that's being pedigreed or civilized. Things that are out in the wild that, let's see.
But Lou's actually talking about how it actually came true afterwards. Kind of like what I did with that. Kind of like what I did with that.
Well, I don't see anything about it coming true afterwards.
Yeah, it's it starts off. Hi, Lady Leeanna. I had a strange experience today where I had 2 dreams in the same night that came true.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry, Mighty. I didn't get the first part of that.
Said the first was that I dreamt my wife gifted me a skull, and that morning my wife dropped her sugar skull ornament on the floor. Let's see. The second dream, I dreamt that we had mice in the house, and then the morning, my wife went to work and visited the house that had a mouse infestation. What does that mean?
Jeez. It sounds like you need help. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Mighty. I have a bigger sense of humor when I'm just trying to wake up, and that's a lot to wrap my head around. I believe it could be a prophetic dream. Kardaki actually says, I think prophetic dreams are naturally to witches. I get them so much. That could be a prophetic dream, but be manifesting itself in symbology. Let's see. And he said, drop the sugar skull ornament on the floor. Did it break or didn't it break? What was the atmosphere surrounding you in the dream? Anyway, that's something to go into in dream symbology. I haven't had a chance to evaluate all of that. And, just I'm trying to get my head around waking up, and I'm thinking on Book of Shadows. So we could talk about that on another time. There's a lot of information there, but I don't think all the information is there. So you might want to write it down real good. The numbers and colors of things, what it meant to you, what all other people are in the dream, what was the atmosphere in the room, what room you were in. These are all very valuable pieces of information. I don't really know what a sugar skull is.
It's the Mexican ornamental skulls that they make on Dia de la Muerte.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
But I haven't had time to really evaluate that. My mind is just everywhere right now, so I'm gonna have to wait on that one. I'm sorry about that, Mighty. But moreover, onto Book of Shadows. I believe that crystals and gemstones on your books, as long as they've been cleansed, purified, and charged in the right way, being placed on the covers of your Book of Shadows can be good depending on what stones they are, what they mean to you. You don't obviously want to just start taking and placing whatever gems on anything, without having a reason for it, or having them in a certain, I guess, an alignment or a design, that is synonymous with you. But metals within the Book of Shadows can hold your energy bound and not let it go anywhere. Otherwise, it could contract things from outside of the circle. Mystic Witch said, and I agree. Now, prayers set out in runes are really good on the outside of your book or just on the inside cover. If you put runes and warnings on there, it'll probably sway people away from going ahead and looking at your book. I would put them in runes in one sort or another. And then I would right below that put the warning, heed these warnings of my book, or whatever as a title, so people know right away that if they read any further, they're in danger, or that they're bound away from doing such, reading your book. And those are some good ideas of keeping people out of your Book of Shadows, which is very important. If people have the information in your Book of Shadows, or have your inside the circle witch name, or your covenant name, then they can use that information against you and actually turn magic on you by using that name alone. And so you might want to make sure that your Book of Shadows doesn't fall in the wrong hands. The same as your hair, your birth date, your social security numbers, you know, all of that kind of personal information, and clippings of fingernails, toenails, all of this type of stuff. Those things are exactly the kind of things that people would use in spell works against you. Snippets of clothing that you've worn and not washed. Samples of your handwriting can actually be used against you when people are doing magic. But we're talking about the BOS, the Book of Shadows, and if somebody has that, they have all your personal spell writings, and you have to recreate those. You know, and you have to worry about them turning them on you.
Since we're talking about security, I thought that it would be kind of interesting to. I think that in a Book of Shadows, it would be very useful to use, like if you're able to draw very well, then to use drawings and sketches and things to make your point, instead of actually using words, because words people can try and recreate to use those secrets, whereas if you have drawings and such, then it'll jog your memory, but it won't give away your secrets, which is kind of the point of a Book of Shadows.
Right. But you have to also take into account, is drawing one of your finer traits?
Yeah.
You have to consider, are you going to remember what it's saying? And three, you have to go back, and a lot of witches, a lot of Wiccans believe in having your spell spoken rhyme. As a matter of fact, that's a very important part in the Wiccan read, is let your spell be spoken rhyme. You know, and so, you know, that's...
Yeah, that's a good idea, Cloud Dancer.
So that's one of the good things, important things that you have to remember whenever you're abiding by that possibility. Writing shorthand, writing shorthand. It's a question,
like being able, like instead of explicitly writing everything out, just kind of write enough to...
They're talking to you basically about what you had said about writing your stuff out. You know, if you can draw real fast and real good, and you can remember what's being put out there.
Yeah.
You know, or in there, rather. You don't want things getting out. That's what the whole idea is about. But I found the best possible thing you can do is write warnings on the outside of your book, or just on the inside cover, to scare people away. You know, like I created a spell work here for my shop, a sort of a seal, if you would. And it said, be it a tenfold curse on thee when thou steal an item from me. Where thou go, trouble will follow, and may your entire life be hollow. There is but one way that this curse be ended. Come pay for your deed. Confess, it'll all be amended. And this was a spell work that I created for myself to protect my store walls here from shoplifters and from thieves, and I was getting a wave of those just before this, and that's what prompted me to do so, and it worked. It shut it down just like that. People did not steal from me again after that. You know, the same thing with your book. I mean, people are afraid of the witch's spells, especially if they're spoken rhyme, because there are all of those what is the word I'm looking for? Earmarks of a witch, from the oldest days, that is telling them, hey, this person means business.
Yeah.
And Lady Raven says that she has a warning on her Book of Shadows. Or she has a warning for Book of Shadows. I have a warning on Book of Shadows. Is it one that you just have on your own book? Or is it one that you have for other people that you want to share? Hey Angie, it's good to see you. And Glenn, it's good to see you both. And welcome to the chats today. What happened to yesterday's stream? I told you guys.
Technical issues.
That I had technical issues. I messed up the camera myself and was not able to reset the settings on it. And I will take that ass whooping or whatever it may be. But yes, it was my fault. I screwed with the camera and I could not, no I didn't. Actually, as soon as I woke up and I started messing with the camera, I hooked up OBS and I found out that it was out of focus. And I'm not very technologically savvy. And so I could not fix it. And I struggled with it all the way up to showtime for about 30 minutes and could not get it working. And then I messed with it for an additional 4 hours because it bothered me so bad. And I really hate bailing on anybody or leaving people hanging. By the way, we did get the brand new camera in.
I'm offended, Ryan.
Who's Austin? Austin is my loving hubby, my living, my consort, my friend, all of the above. And that is he. Anyway, yes, I did get the new camera in, and the sound, if you haven't noticed, comes out a lot better, I believe. How are we sounding to you guys? I mean, that's the question. Is it sounding echoey, or call him Sir Austin the Great? He is really great. He made me din last night.
Talon's got a pretty good idea to do with
Stuffed
the Book of Shadows.
zucchini. Do what?
I was just saying, Talon's got a pretty good idea with the Book of Shadows. You can write it in another language, and then write it into some sort of rune system. Because even if they do understand the one language, they're probably not going to be able to understand.
Well, that's what I said at first.
Yeah.
I said do it in runes first, and then just below that, then you do it in English, because they will understand the English, but the runes are going to scare the shit out of them. And so, again, their man Talon's got a lot in common as far as the way we like to do things. But I like using the Theban runes. And I like using the Pictowickish runes. Those are very interesting to me. Other people might like the angelic runes or the Fathark runes or whatever. I mean, there's so many different rune systems out there.
Theban runes are pretty easy to read, aren't they? I mean,
Theban runes, no runes are really easy to read.
Well, no, I mean, but they're like if you know the writing system, then they're fairly easy to read, aren't they? There's not a whole lot of
they're a simplistic rune, yes.
Yeah,
pretty much straight lines. However, there are so many that look alike, that you would really have to get it. Like some of them's tails go under and some of them go over. Some of them are sharp, some of them curl that way.
But it's not
but you've got to realize that there's under the amount in the American alphabet.
Right, so you would have to reuse some.
They're easy
but it's
to
not
memorize.
It's not like Chinese kanji or anything.
Actually, any of your runes are easy to learn. If you stick to one kind of rune, and if you don't, then it gets pretty easy. Audio's great on my end. Thank you, Glenn. Nicole. For those sound checks. I really was wondering how that is. Myra, you got to realize that we can't hear what's going on out there, and so if it's breaking up, if it's echoing or anything, we wouldn't know. Let's see, Freaky Unicorn, welcome back to the show. When I was a kid, I made my own code because my mom read my diary. LOL. That's one of your good reasons. And a diary is the same thing as to what we're doing. And don't you know that when somebody goes through your diary, through your journal, through your BOS, Book of Shadows, not bull of shit, by the way. When somebody goes through your personal things like that, it kind of makes you feel drained out, like somebody's taking some power from you or whatever, and it almost makes you want to rip out all the pages and start all over again. And you by no means want to do that with your Book of Shadows, your journal, or whatever. And some people within magic keep a journal. Some keep a Book of Shadows. Some keep a diary. And I mean, on and on. You don't want to have to start over, and you don't want people going through that. So you do the runes, you do the English warning, spoken rhyme, you do whatever it takes, and create a sigil. And I've got a show that we did, like, just within the past 2 weeks about sigil magic, maybe within 3 weeks. SOB or BOS, or, and it could be Book of Shadows or whatever, you know. Don't want to get them confused. But sigil magic, using a sigil on your book, and you've got to create it, and it's got to mean something to you. You should not choose somebody else's symbol. And we have the big habit of taking the pentagram, adopting it, making it ours, but without adding to it or whatever. And you can even create your own sigil and then have it cast into a mold or whatever for your function. What were you going to say, honey?
I was just saying, do you think it would be a good idea? We're talking about putting a lot of work into a Book of Shadows.
It deserves a lot of work.
Do you think that? How do you feel about digitizing the information, like creating a second copy by scanning the pages? Because if there is a fire or anything and it gets destroyed, then
there is no set rule on how you take notes of it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the oldest day, it was all information that was passed from mother to child, father to child, and whatnot. And people did not write shit down because they were afraid that they would be executed. Okay, so there is no outline on how somebody should note their working so that they could remake the book should the house ever be in a house fire, or the book be in a house fire or whatever. You know, so it doesn't hurt if you go a little techno-witch and keep a back copy on a data file somewhere, you know, on the web, in a closed file where somebody doesn't have your passkeys or all of that. As a matter of fact, you can create your whole Book of Shadow on the computer and then put it all on a digitized copy, you know, up there under a password where nobody knows where it is. And that's what techno witches actually do. You know, they don't even keep a Book of Shadows, but if they ever need to take their spell work into their circle, then they will print that out. They'll take it into circle and they'll burn it, give it to the fire, you know, which would carry it into the air and let their prayers be heard. It adds to your spell ritual at the end in getting rid of it as it was for you to have it in there. You know, if you're going to have your spell inside the circle written, then make it a kind of a ritual, you know, to get rid of it while you're in the circle.
Glenn's got a good question.
Let's see, Glenn says, and let me remind y'all, when you actually have a question, put it in all caps so that my attention will be drawn to it, but only if you have a question. On that subject, what are your opinions on the integration of tech and magic? I don't do it myself because I'm an old-fashioned witch. I really am. I'm a very old spirit, and I'm not technologically savvy, probably because of this. But I believe that it's very valid, that people do it, they're happy with it, and it works for them. Do realize that anything you print out for your Book of Shadows and take into circle and give it to fire, it's not going to hold your energy. It's not going to hold your magic in it. It's not a magical tool. But everything that's inside of your circle is. And you should listen to everything that was said, 2 shows back? Metals within your circle, things of that, stones, crystals. That was our last show, where we kind of covered a lot of that, I believe. Nicole says, I am so old school. I write down everything in all my books or paperback. Feels more authentic to me. And that kind of reminds me of somebody on a TV show, Giles on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yes, I am a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. I'm sorry. Heaven help me. Goddess help me. Whatever. You know, Giles said in Buffy the Vampire Slayer that books are tangible. They smell dirty like books are supposed to smell. You know? and they smell like books, and it smells bookish in your library. You know. And I guess I'm kind of that witch, you know.
I just, I find that, like, anytime that I try to do anything like that, it was very difficult
like
for me
what,
to... it's very difficult for me to write down in a book of shadows or anything like a decorative kind of, any kind of in fact, I really suck at taking any kind of notes. And so anytime that I always find that I have to write notes in either like a binder or something that I can just tear out, or a computer or something like that. Because anytime that I'm not happy with something, and I'm usually not, I've got to tear it out. I've got to destroy it. I mean, it's just...
Well, that kind of sounds like me, though. But, you know, let me explain something to you. And this might sound like a degradation of which kind or something here. Or just so, you know, ghastly, okay? But you have to realize that in the oldest day, we did not make notes. We did not keep a book of shadows. We did not put the information into anything tangible. And still to this day, after all of those centuries, I still never do. I never have kept a book of shadows. I've tried. I've wanted to, but I end up never doing it. Instead, I will write all my spells down on paper from memory. And, you know, a lot of it I feel that I'm creating whenever I'm writing it down. But I find that it just came so smoothly, and it was as though it were from lives past, that I was acquiring the information, my own spells from past lives, and was writing them down for that particular spell work so that I could give it to the fire while I'm within circle. So yes, I will write things down now just before doing a spell work. But it goes back to the fire, or it goes to the fire before I leave my circle, and I don't carry it out. I don't put it in a book. And you know, I mean, it's not being too late. It's not being too lazy to write things down and keeping a book of shadows. Because I mean, if that were the case, I wouldn't be writing it down, giving it to the fire. I would be writing it down, and I would be holding on to it afterward so that I could bind it into a handwritten book. I mean, because that would be as simple. But for whatever reason, I've always been compelled to write it down just before I go into a spell work, and then before I leave that circle, giving it to the fire, and thereby there would be no written information on it. And I feel that this has to do with the age that I am, the lives that I've lived. And you have to realize, I remember 2 lives back of being burned as a witch at the stake. You know, and I'm sure I was a witch in several other lives as well, but I don't know what transpired there. You know, and probably all of this because I was, and you're not going to believe this, and yes, this is one thing that I've got to go into, and by request, a show on karma, because someone specifically requested this. But if somebody does not believe that karma does exist, listen to this. Yes, was living as a witch the most recent 2 lives past. But before that, I was burned as a witch in 2 lives past. Before that. Why? Because I was an inquisitor before that. And so it could be a little weird there. I mean, there's a lot in my past that a lot of you guys don't know, and I still remember a lot of things. Why? Because I'm a firm believer in past life regression. I get in touch with that so easily, and just on the fly, I get flashes and elements of my past since I opened those gateways a long time ago. We're still talking about the Book of Shadows, Mystic Witch, but I was talking about why I don't leave tangible evidence, why I don't actually keep a Book of Shadows, but I write things down just before going into circle, and while I'm still in circle, I give it to the flames. And all of this, I feel, is because I come from a time when I didn't ever keep a Book of Shadows.
An inquisitor is somebody that literally tortures the hell out of somebody.
People to get information out of them. An inquisitor burned witches at the stake. An inquisitor in the oldest times. An inquisitor literally tortured witches into submission, into saying that they were witches whether they were or not. And I believe that we all come from very, very dark times. Now, I didn't know anything about my past lives until I saw the 2 where I was burned as a witch at the stake. And for that reason, I dug. You're very welcome. For that reason, I dug into lives before that to find out why my life would have been brought to this in lives there following. And it came out to being that I was a Grand Inquisitor that didn't actually put, well, actually I did. I remembered a time where I actually was there putting a witch to death. And this was my own karma. And that's why I said we need to do a show very soon to come on karma and by request of someone that asked for it. Do you put spells and bubble your BOS? What do you mean by bubble your BOS?
I think she's talking about like a protection bubble, maybe.
Do you put spells and bubble your BOS? Like I said, I don't actually keep a Book of Shadows. I've never been one to do that. And I believe that it's because of my past lives that taught us never to write your spells on paper, never leave evidence that you're a witch, and so forth. And so I always wrote my spells right down before, and I believe it was from memories from life past, because they've always been quite beautiful, haven't they, honey?
Yeah.
And like I would have them written down in 5 minutes, like I knew them. And so I believe that it was my own spells from lives past, and I'm very much in touch with that. I actually did a spell work on myself a long time ago, and it was called Calling a Witch's Lost Power from lives past. And since then, everything has been on key with me, and actually very, very strong. Thank you, Elmira. I appreciate it. But, yes, there's nothing against writing your spell works on paper. Just make sure nobody gets a hold of it. Keep it in a locked box, maybe, or put locks on it itself. Definitely put seals on it that you create yourself, your own sigil. Sigil magic is very, very powerful. And I did a show on that about 3 weeks ago on sigil magic. So go back and look at that. Create your own sigil. So put your symbol on your book. Do a spell writing in runes. And then do the same spell written down below that in English or whatever language you speak, so that you can, do whatever, keep whatever people out of your book. And Mystic Witch says, I need a Book of Shadows because I am very, very, very forgetful person. Onegaishimasu. Anyway, no, that's quite understandable. I believe that I carry my spells from life to life, and they are still the same. I can write them down in 5 minutes. They're very poetic, and I believe very beautiful. And so that always worked for me. And then in circle, and doing spell works, while there, I would give it to the flame over my cauldron, which is on 3 legs, keeping it up off the ground. Don't want to catch anything on fire. And I would give it to the fire, which would give it to the air. And I would say, carry my prayers on air. Let them be heard, let them be heard. Through the 4 corners do I grant thee these words, let it be. Let it be. And by that, and see, I just came up with that right then. I mean, and this is because I feel that I'm in touch with so many of my past lives. And you can do that. Be creative. Don't feel like you've always got to rely on what somebody else has told you. The information, the knowledge, the wisdom, it starts here. It starts with Raven Grimassi. It starts with Scott Cunningham. It starts with Aleister Crowley, Raymond Buckland, Margaret Murray. It starts there. But your religion is within yourself. It's that which you are, and it's created of self. Don't be afraid of being creative and doing things your way. It wouldn't necessarily be considered traditional witchcraft anymore. It's more eclectic, but it's still as powerful. What you add to your own magic, what you add to your own religion, helps you to be able to thrive in it throughout your life, and that's very, very important, even above anything else. Let's see. I was reading down below. Oh, there was a question here. What was that? Let's see. Do you do past life readings? I do with people that are here, but I do it whenever I send them in hypnosis, and that is so they can tell me what their past life was. Past life readings. There is past life readings that you can do on people when they're face to face, and I do more of an aura reading, and then I kind of go into their past that way. But doing that online would be rather complicated because I'm a kind of a hands-on person, and no, that don't mean I squish the quangies or anything like that. It just means that I believe in being face-to-face with a person whenever I do such readings, as that is, especially going into the past. Now, here I do hypnosis, past life regression, past life regression readings. I put them under hypnosis, and they get so quiet you have to watch out, and perhaps have an amplifier with a microphone there and a tape recorder, say, that runs by a lot of feet of electrical cording into the bathroom or whatever, a different room aside of where you're at, because you don't want the echo and feedback to wake the person up out of their hypnosis stage. So I do tape them. I have to have a microphone right by their mouth because they're so far under that they're quiet, and I don't see Yomanu in the room, by the way. I just noticed. I haven't seen him visit us today.
That's pretty odd.
That's pretty odd. Usually he's here, and it could be because we all missed the show yesterday, and some people got thrown off by that. It happens. But yes, hypnosis is the best way to take somebody through past life regression, by all means. However, you can do an aura reading on somebody or an energy or vibrating on somebody and get results. It's just not as thorough.
You can also, if you're really good with dreams, you can have those point you in that general direction.
Yes, and you can give people actually exercises on things to do, say, a week prior, starting a week prior to doing a past life regression on them. That would provoke the things within their dreams that would help you by them telling you your dream. And that way you could start by doing a dream reading, and then you can work your way into past life regression through that. For me, see, I'm a person that actually likes the doorway. I like to have an entrance way. And that is generally because people like to block and break other people out and keep them at arm's bay on a typical level. And so, you know, I'm not a person that likes to get in there and have to chisel down a brick wall on a person that actually invited me to do a reading on them. And that's what you're having to do a lot of times, you know? Even when you're doing a psychic reading via tarot cards, runes, crystal gazing, or whatever, a lot of times you're having to chisel away at a client's brick wall before you get over in there and actually start doing the reading on them, and I don't like doing that. So I'll tell people before they get here, be ready. Be ready to let me in. You're coming in and you're paying me your money. You can open the damn door for me. You know, you can come in and you can be open-minded so that I can go in and I can tell you myself what your wants, your hopes, your goals are for that actual reading and or past life, etc. So, yes, I think that makes it a lot better because when a person sits at your table and pays you the rent for that table, which is paying you the money that they're going to for that reading, you don't want to flow over into all of your other clients' time, and there's so much only that you can cover within 30 minutes on a 30-minute reading or an hour on an hour reading. And so I'm very, very precise with my clients, and I love return clients, face-to-face clients, but I do readings via Skype also. Let's see. And Cloud also says that would be me also, and I think that what she's referring to is liking a doorway. Don't like to have to chisel away at other people's shit before you actually get in and get to do a reading for them, etc. I've got a pretty good or bad barring up all the time, trying to take it down. And I guess that means that Cloud is saying that they have a brick wall up a lot. And see, that's the kind of shit I don't like to have to break down with a chisel before I do a reading on you. And not saying I can't, by the way. But no, basically, you know, barriers just prevent, and yeah, I got that on the second one. But barriers are something that a lot of people put up, and you don't want to have to break those down to do a reading. I did a reading once for a friend, and she wasn't so open about it. And the cards literally said, knowledge hidden by the mind. And they will. They sure will. As a matter of fact, Mystic Witch just struck a chord with me with something that happened. Cards little, let's see, doing a reading on people. People not being, oh, yes. I've had so many clients come to me, and they're paying me to do a reading on them, but they're so embarrassed about their own feelings or thought they'll literally lie to me whenever, and you can vouch for that. They'll lie about it or deny it whenever I bring it up, and then it comes out 45 minutes later and 30 minutes into my own time where I'm not getting paid for it because I feel so bad and I've got to keep reaching in there and getting it. You know, and I always want to do the best for my clients. And they'll lie and deny until the bitter end, you know, and then they'll tell me the truth about it, and then they'll give me a lot of details which will tell me that they were lying before and they're not just giving in because they're tired or whatever. And I keep an eye on this kind of shit, you know. But, I mean, if you're going to pay somebody your money to do a reading on you, don't lie to them, don't hold back, and definitely be honest with yourself. Be open and don't put up walls, because that will just, that's costing you money, and it's making the reader go over time, you know, which they don't like to do. And people are very, very guilty of that. You know, generally it's because they have a guilt complex about what they've done, or an embarrassment, or they don't want to see into their own selves.
Or just plain stubbornness.
No, I've never really just had it out of stubbornness. Usually it's because they just don't want to be honest with themselves. That's the biggest one. They don't want to see the truth about themselves. And you could be losing a client if you tell too much about how you feel about them, because people do not want to hear about their bad traits. They do not. And so you're better off steering away from that. How do we get on the subject of readings, by the way?
Nicole was asking about past regression readings, I think, and then it kind of just...
And then dreams from somebody else, and it just kind of evolved that way. Which is fine. I mean, there's no problem with that. We just kind of go with flow.
Right.
And this is supposed to be coffee with Lady Leeanna, and my throat is dry. But yeah, you've got to open up. You've got to be honest with the reader. Otherwise, getting reading is ridiculous. It really is. And let's see. Any finer details on Book of Shadows that we did not cover? And yes, the show is still about Book of Shadows. Okay, metals is generally a no-no in your Book of Shadows because it can either contract bad energy or spirits, etc. Or it could prohibit you from sending your energy where it needs to go and hold it in your own circle, preventing it from going.
I've seen some books of shadows to where they'll actually use on the corners and such, they'll use metal to help reinforce it. You don't think that...
I think that holds energy back. And remember, books at all is a new concept for true witches. Right? Wrong? I mean, books at all is a new concept for witches. There's nothing wrong with it. But do you know the lead and the metals inside the ink or whatever are enough to hold whatever power it needs? And that's why when you're writing your spell down, you need to focus the light from above, down through your body, in through your arms and hands, and out into the pen. Or straight down from above and into the butt of your pen. You know, the writing itself will hold power and magic. You don't want the book to do that. You want the words to hold the magic. And that's why I feel that when people use metals within their book, it actually restrains the magic from going where it needs to, or it contracts the wrong kind of energy. You know, even outside the circle, actually, especially outside the circle. Anyway, so, yes, metals within the books, maybe not so good. You can cleanse, consecrate, and charge crystals for the right purposes because they mean something for you, and you put them in the right shape, form, or fashion on the covers of your book. That's okay. And a lot of people like crystals on the outside of their books or gemstones, and it depends on how you yourself feels about that, but you have to do it properly. Writing your spell works down in a notebook before you implement it into your Book of Shadows, and maybe by pencil at first. You know, that way you can take from it and add to it for a course of a year, and if you still feel that strongly about it a year from that, then you could write it as pretty as you please into either a bound book or into your Book of Shadows without degrading your book or having to tear out pages or whatever that would just make it look crappy. Hot gluing your stones, a lot of people use that method. A lot of people will also hot glue some leather, wet it, and then wrap it around the stone. Reinforce it with some hot glue, and then it'll tighten as the leather dries, and it'll bind that stone into your book. And it's an old Native American technique meets Witchcraft Wicca. Let's see. I did a reading for... I did a reading for a client, and the card did not show his fortune but mine, and I've had that happen a lot. That way, whenever you get ready to start your day in readings, the best thing you can do is sage yourself and decide that you're, okay, sit down and think about all your things that you're dealing with right then, and decide to let it go for that day and not look upon it. Then you sage and cleanse yourself, you know, to start your day up. And maybe do a bit of a prayer candle, and then you're ready for your clientele. But that has been a problem in the past for me, and I got through it by this method. So there is a good idea for you. Let's see. Glenn says a friend of grandmother is a very spiritualist woman. She has published a book that does readings. My grandmother is very closed off the spiritualist thing things and think she's a oddball, but aren't we all? I mean, really, we're all oddballs. A lot of us could be said to be certifiable, but a lot of the reason is because people fail to understand us or can't see eye to eye with us, and generally we are trained to believe as they do from the very beginning, and we're programmed, and we need to reprogram ourselves to say, okay, we're not crazy, everybody else is. No, I'm just kidding. But we need to reprogram ourselves so that we're strong and inside of ourselves and can break the bounds of conventionality, because that's repression for you. Saw her, she gave me a Kismet set. What is a Kismet set? What is a Kismet set, Glenn? You know, a lot of the newer terms I am just not familiar with, which I have used on myself and my sisters. Okay, I think it's a witch's spell kit. You know, am I right or wrong? Correct me if I am wrong there. But a witch's spell kit or some kind of tool. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Awesome. And that was a reference to what we were saying earlier. You can make some beautiful writing tools, Mystic. Nice idea. Thank you. And that was about hot gluing. Yes. Wrapping a crystal on top of your pen or pencil, and it really does help. Also, an idea was taking wet leather, hot gluing it, and letting it dry as it holds tight whatever jewel you want to put into your book, and it'll bind that forever. Let's see, so there's that. Freaky Unicorn agreed with Mystic Witch. Okay, I'll see you later, Nicole. It was good having you here, and I hope you can come back. Thank you for letting us know. Let's see. Glenn, Kismetic, or Kismet, is a fortune-telling method that uses runes. Oh, okay, well, I've called it rune casting. Like I said, I'm a very old witch, and I go by a lot of old ideas of what to call things. And there's so many new words. By the way, does anybody agree with me on that? What's up with all of these new ideas on what things should be called? Because I'm lost with a lot of new untraditional words. And whenever I say traditional, what I mean is old. Honey, you're making me lose my page.
Oh my.
I've lost it, and we probably lost their chat. That happens.
There you go. Sorry about that.
I hope we haven't. Somebody tap in the room and let me know that we still have you on chat, because the last time I did that, it was over for the day. Somebody said hello, Jessica, so maybe it's there? I don't know. But I was able to see their words afterwards and know that they had lost me. Anyway, I don't know. But don't mess with my pages. Want to see a witch going mad and throwing down some lightning bolts? That's one place where I like to call on old Zeus. Anyway, what I was saying is, who else with me on the new age ideas on what things are called? Okay, thank you, Glenn. Thanks for that check. I was still worried about it. You remember, you were one of the ones that we dumped off the chat that day when I tried to adjust different things and I couldn't get it back. Do you remember that? But, yes, new age ideas on what things are called, you know, are like kind of leaving some of us old witches behind, because we're still calling it rune casting or whatever else. I mean, and I can't think of some. Techno witch is actually a new word, and that came with computers. Yes, you got left behind too? Anyway, so some of the new terms just really throw me. However, they're valid. I mean, any tag, title, or keyword, and that was another one of my videos I touched on at one time, and we should cover that again in live chat very soon. But tags and titles are very necessary things for us to help decipher what other human beings are saying. And what we call the TV, the toaster, the microwave, those were ideas and not really an invention at one time, and somebody had to create the name for it, you know. Also, witchcraft, was a tag and title a long time ago, and we adopted it and made it our own word. And I think it actually came from negative means. Which,
Yeah,
you're a witch. I believe that's where it came from.
Yeah, which was the original term used by
Christians
and
to
Jews.
condemn us.
Yeah.
I believe that we adopted it. And as a matter of fact, I had somebody come in and try to troll me. What was that about? I don't really remember the whole thing.
About what?
But somebody tried to troll me about using different ideas and concepts. Oh, white, gray, and black magic doesn't really exist, etc. Those are Christian concepts and ideas. Well, yeah, but they were brought in and now they're used, and you'll hear a Wiccan referring to themselves as a practitioner of the lighter, the darker, the grayer arts or whatnot. And, this person left my channel and told me basically I needed to get some knowledge and wisdom because mine wasn't good enough. The fact of the matter is this person was trolling me on the basis that, well, in the oldest days, white, gray, and black magic or witchcraft didn't exist, and gray magic, or actually magic is neutral anyway, even now, but white, black, and gray witchery did not exist in the oldest days. But it is a term. What are you doing now?
I'm not doing anything.
You're bringing things in front of me, and I can't read what's going on here. I don't get the new terms a lot either. So a lot of us older witches were left behind with the newer terms there. And weren't we using something on that monitor?
There you go.
I'm gonna get you. You're being a child today. Anyway, I will get you. But yeah, a lot of us were left behind. The thing is I've been trolled equally by pagans, if not more, on the channel than even Christians. I've only been trolled by Christians, 3 or 4 times in 3 years? And I've been trolled by pagans about 6 to 10 times by various ones, and a lot of the time it's by stubborn people that feel that their way is the only way, where I always tell people, make your religion your own. Leave Austin alone, she says. Okay, he needs to get it sometimes, though. He is very much a kid. He's making me lose my shit here. So, yeah, I will get him. Anyway, but I've been trolled by pagans more than I have the Christians here on the channel, believe it or not. And it's because there are a lot of people that feel they know more than everybody else, and that because something was said to not exist at one time, they, don't believe it could possibly exist now. Well, Wicca is actually a new term. Wicca came about in the early 50s, through the 60s and 70s. Through Gerald Gardner, Raymond Buckland, or not Raymond Buckland, but Gerald Gardner, Margaret Murray, Aleister Crowley, some of your oldies. Okay, and it was resurrected, and it was, Wicca is a new term for what was to be the new idea of witchcraft was driven underground. And so that we wouldn't get burned at the stake again or be pulled apart, etc. Does white, black, and gray magic exist? Well, yeah, it does, because people today are using those terms. And so the trolls that actually, he runs another channel, although it's relatively small, tried to set me right on that, trolled me, and said some pretty crude things, and all I've got to say is I've heard Wiccans and witches today talk about white, gray, and black practice. Do you find there is more in fighting than external input? What do you mean? I don't understand that comment. Do you?
I think she was talking about uh, like do you think that there's more fighting going on than somebody actually trying to ask a question or trying to be helpful?
Like, are they really trying to troll me, or are they trying to give information?
Yeah, I believe. I mean,
well, when they came up telling you, no, they don't give you any way to actually talk, but they look at your video, they say, there is no white, gray, or black witchery within magic. That is a Christian-made concept, and you need to go get wisdom because yours isn't good enough. That is not trying to be constructive. That's not trying to give criticism. That's not trying to be helpful. You know what I'm saying? That is somebody trying to be rude with you.
Do you find that pagans troll more than Christians?
Yes, I do. Because they believe what they want to believe. They believe that nobody else is. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying a lot of them. I am not talking about anybody in the room. I don't see anybody here that I've had a problem with or anything of that nature.
Seems like Christian trolls are very generic.
Christian trolls are more persistent.
But generic, because they'll post a Bible quote and then they'll say, you're going to hell if you don't repent and accept Jesus. Whereas pagan trolls are more like, well, you know, your logic is flawed because, and you're not a real witch because you weren't you weren't initiated in the proper way, and it's kind of more of an elitist sort of trolling, you know?
Yeah, they want to put their mark down and they want to leave and they don't want to ever talk to you again.
Yeah.
But a lot of your pagan trolls, they'll hang on and they'll go on and on and on. I think that they're really equal as far as their stature goes, but I believe that I've been trolled a lot more by pagans than I have been Christians, and it's because my ideas and concepts don't match theirs. But people have to realize that when you're making a video that goes out to the entire world, 7 billion people, of 7 billion people, there's potentiality for any one of 7 billion people to watch it. And nobody's ideas are going to, not everybody's ideas are going to match up and be equal with each other. Everybody believes different. There's different pathways. And I've always made it absolutely plain on my channel that it is an eclectic channel, that I cater to all religions, including Christianity, if there are Christians watching. And there are Christians that watch the channel here. And I do talk about old witchcraft and magic as well as new. Let's see. And Mystic Witch says voodoo don't actually do black magic. Voodoo practitioners do light magic. They say it's cleaner and holier. But a lot of people like to judge them as being done black magic for whatever reason. So there's somebody else is implementing their ideas, thoughts, and imaginations on something that they're not really sure of. Yeah, you know. But the troll that I was talking about was actually somebody that, and they're right, in the oldest days, there was not the tags, titles, and ideas about white, gray, or black witchcraft or pagan pathways of any sort, because those tags and titles didn't exist. However, the Christian, and he's right that the Christian church did bring those judgments along as it being either good or evil, white, black, or gray, ideas of witchery or magic, etc. He was right to that degree, you know, that it was a Christian-based idea. However, those tags and titles stuck because even Christianity has been along for how long? How long has it been around? And so that means that there's validity in it. And and welcome back, Nicole. Oh, and welcome, Gabrielle. It's good to see you. It's really good to see you.
Wow, look, we've got 19 people watching. That's
we
really cool.
have reached our top. If we get one more, we beat our all-time largest amount of people. But Yes, in the oldest days, these things did not exist. But this is the new day. And yes, Christianity did bring the ideas of what's good and evil, white, black, or gray in as far as magical practice and witchcraft. However, there was a basis of thought for that. There was a reason why it was said. And so therefore it makes it valid today.
See,
You know.
the way I feel about it though is that good and evil have first been documented, since the time of Hammurabi created the first written laws, and so
So it goes back even pre-Christian.
So it goes back even pre-Christian because laws are essentially society's definition of right and wrong. So you know what I'm saying?
It seems like religion's beliefs, where everyone believes the exact same things, are the ones that can be the most closed-minded ones as well. And it is true. And that's what I call your textbook religious pathways. And that's the ones that go specifically by one written book. Here I am going off into some other... Anyway, one written book that everybody goes by. There is no room for bending or flexibility, But then it's not true exactly, Freaky, because like I said, I've been trolled by pagans on the channel more than I have Christians, and that's by pagans saying this is the way it was always said, and that's all there is to it. And that was one fellow saying, there is no white, gray, or black magic. These things don't exist within witchcraft. Well, in the old day they didn't, but in the new day, since Christianity and other pathways came along, they do. And that's because somebody made it a concept. Somebody made it an idea. And nowadays, it's not unheard of to see a new Wiccan or an older one standing around talking about whether they practice white, black, or gray magic, or whether they're a white, black, or gray Wiccan or a white, black, or gray witch. You even see that. Although a lot of times witches don't like to title themselves that way because witches are more of a way of life and Wicca is more of a religion. And that's what separates the two actually. One is more passed down by verbalization, and that's witchcraft, and one is passed down more by written book. Although you can find that they bleed into each other because there's a fine line between all religions, and that is because since there have been so many religions coming along, including Christianity that's been added to the number of religions, then it's bled over with the tags, the titles, and descriptions, and we need those to actually be able to decipher what another individual is actually talking about. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do agree with it, or you disagree with it?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
But when you're being trolled by people, YouTube is full of people that are wannabe thugs, They're doing it really just to be, because they have nobody else that'll listen to them, and usually it's because they're unreasonable. And so I write it off to that, and I don't let it get to me. Now, I don't have any problem with, and hello Siren, it's good to see you. I don't think that I've seen you in the room. Mexican Male Witch here. I love your videos. And I love all you guys too. And that's what I love is people to come up and say, hey, I'm such and such. I believe in this. Or this is my pathway. Or, I'm here and I'm listening to you. And whatever. Introduction is always good. I find voodoo very interesting because of its history and lore rooted in the oldest earthen traditions. I find voodoo very interesting also, and I've studied it to a mild degree. It has a lot of negative connotations put on by, not connotations, it has a lot of negative tags and titles put or associations put on it by other religions also, whenever generally they are a light practice, believe it or not. However, you have to realize that people have turned and twisted all religions in so many different ways to where you can find dark and light in any and every religion. Let's see, Jessica. Hi, Jessica. I don't think I said hi to Jessica before. I have a big interest in Druidism. Druidism is a very good culture and religion, a very good pathway to walk. And it's pretty much hand in hand with a lot of different religions, I believe. Very eclectic and very knowledgeable bunch of people. It's very old knowledge there that we're getting into. Patricia, how are you doing? I don't think I saw you talk on here earlier. That's what I have made as my Book of Shadows. I made a 3-ring binder and made my own cover so I could take out the pages. And that's a very good idea. And a lot of people will either anoint the corners of their pages with a little oil or whatever. So that's a really good idea. Let's see. And Belinda, welcome Belinda. It's good to see you. The Witch in Love 2 Healer, Kurandura. Myself and my wife are being persecuted as well. I think we all are, but you've got to realize there's some of us that put ourselves way out there, so it's going to be very, very usual, or it's going to become very usual if it wasn't already. Persecution is a really big thing out there. The holy words have raged throughout, well, humanity. I mean, it's just always going to be there.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I think it's disgusting because, people are not able to live their own religion in the way that they want to. And it also not only robs the person that's being trolled, but it's robbing themselves of their own religion because they're too busy focusing on another person's religion to get anything out of it in themselves. Pretty Green Glow, welcome to the show. It's good to see you. Merry meet. Let's see. I know right why would Catholics burn frankincense and myrrh to cleanse and consecrate, and burn candles with an intention. Sound pretty pagan. Well, me and Catholics have always gotten along pretty good. You've got to realize, though, that Catholicism is the ones that presented the inquisitors in the oldest days, that actually pulled witches apart, tortured them to get information out of them that weren't true anyway, as well as burn them at the stakes. Catholicism today is the closest religion, believe it or not, to paganism and the most understanding of us who are pagans.
They're at least able to meet us halfway.
They're at least able to meet us halfway, and we are more understanding of Catholicism than we are of a lot of other Christian pathways. Not to say that there aren't people within the non-denominational churches today that would be okay with this, and Pentecostals are more open than what Baptists are, I feel. But, I mean, the line goes on and on. The fact of the matter is that we as pagans are to be the most open-minded people because that's what we profess to be. And so we should make it a point to be okay with going hand in hand with all other religions. And if someone is just hard to get along with, then just walk away from them and say, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm not a witch that likes to sit there and argue. A nice little sharing of ideas is okay with me. I'm alright with people disagreeing on the channel with what I say, if they do it, without throwing up, you need to go and get you some knowledge because you really stink or whatever, because that's just downright trolling. And that's what I'm getting with the pagans that are actually trolling me whenever they do. It's good to see you, Angie. I'm sorry you have to leave, but You're welcome back to join us anytime. Please do. Um, let's see. And it's about time that we actually shut the show down anyway. So you're not going to miss anything, really, Angie. We're going to go ahead and close the show. This is a good place for that, I think. Okay. Anything else that needs to be summed up that we haven't? Let's see. Luna Bell, you're coming in right on the end of the show, my lady. Read Belinda's comments before you go. Okay, where is that at? Belinda Rady, the witch in love to healer, Quandra. McAllen, Texas. So you're close to me. Where's Belinda's comment?
See, my ex-husband got a court order lying saying that I use my children for blood sacrifice. He's hit below the belt. He really has.
I've had a lot of friends that were accused by the courts of conducting pagan rituals outside of the house, everybody being in the nude when there were youths inside the house and in bed. And even if there were kids inside the house in bed asleep and somebody knew that they were actually asleep, I feel that it's wrong to and their sanctuary was actually well away from the house, by the way, but on the same piece of property. The property was several acres. I feel that it's wrong what gets done to us. And because people like to say all manner of evil against us, particularly pathways that devoutly go by a book, then, it takes our children away. We're accused of child molestation, not me personally. I have no children, actually, of my own or around my house. But I've heard of other people having their children taken away because their exes specifically, or people of the Christian church, disagree with their religion and wanted to scream that someone was doing this or that when they indeed weren't. I think that there is a lot of stigma that gives us a lot more grief than what it really should. And it leads to a lot of heartbreak and soaking tears. It really does. And, thanks for bringing up that point when you did. I really feel for those people that have their kids taken away for just because there is a ex that is out to get them. And it also really does show who the children really belong with to begin with. Yeah. When the person would use lies to get their way. Belinda Reedy, the witch in love to healer Quaranda. My ex-husband has nothing else to break the family apart. And that's why they use these particular things. He's jealous of my married life and the love and my present husband has for the kids. My husband also has a YouTube channel. And so when they're putting things out in the public eye, that can be pretty bad. But, there's only so much we can do about the things that get done to us. And definitely we should always fight that. With everything we've got, particularly when it comes to our kids, but it shows that you're the bigger person, and generally, whenever this hash does start getting flung, it's right when a divorce is coming about or when the ex is bringing a new mate into their household that will, from there on out, be another parent added to the children at hand. You're very welcome. I really feel that this show is very beneficial to a lot of people for that reason. It can reach out and it can help people to talk about things that bother them whenever it deals with religion, within their spirituality. And a lot of us are in the backwoods and don't have other witches we can actually talk to. And so this is very rich with that. you know. And there's a lot of people here that actually help me, like Glenn and Mystic Witch and Amira and many others on here that actually answers questions whenever I don't see them or whenever I don't have the information, because I don't know everything. Everybody can't know everything. You know, we can only know what we've studied, and we've only got so much time to study the things that we do. You know, and so other people here on the chats can be a valuable source of information here as well as me. And that's where I say, you know, this is a place where we meet every day and we can share our odds and ends with each other, help work through things, be a family. And I'm trying to make that as good of a community as I can. Not only in the things here, but, you know, I'm trying to expand that a little bit. And through the other sources I'm putting together for us. You know, I think we should connect more. And it's well, as they would have it, he has to go to work. A lot of times in the daytime, I have work too, and I never get interrupted at 9:30 in the morning because I don't open my actual business here till noon, so it's at a perfect time and place already. Thank you, Glenn. Very sweet of you. We are like a family here. And, you know, I don't get interrupted when I do my show at 9:30 in the morning because I don't actually open my doors here in the shop till noon. And so that works out great. I am trying to put together, and that's a good point that you make, Belinda. You weren't here whenever I mentioned, and a lot of people came in later, that I've actually started on Twitch me a gaming channel where I'm not going to be gaming, but I will be all the time. I will be talking about spirituality because they have another area there. Creativity, shop talk, or talk shows. They have areas there that you could talk about spirituality. And so I'll be doing that in the evening sometime. And if you follow my Twitch channel, which is called, what is this new Twitch channel called? Ask a Witch.
Ask a Witch.
Plain and simple. Look for Ask a Witch on Twitch. And don't say on Twitch, but when you go to Twitch, type in there in the search Ask a Witch and it should pull me up. I should be the only one there under that title. And this is a chat room where I can play games and actually talk to you guys, you know, and you'll be able to see the live stream of the game. We'll be able to hold conversations about witchcraft while I'm gaming, if I'm gaming, or I'll just have one of those rooms under talk show or whatever, but it should take you right to me if you enter. But look out for Ask a Witch on the Twitch platform. Also, I'm trying to put together everything on Facebook as well as on, what other platform is that? I'm on Twitter already. If you look for, let's see, Lady_Leeanna or Eclectic Spirituality. Actually, I go by Eclectic Spirituality more than anything on Twitter. So we're on Twitter now. And so there's plenty of ways that we could reach out to each other. But the live areas would be on Twitch under the title Ask a Witch. And then you guys can answer a lot of questions for the little new people that are just trying to learn. And there's a lot of younger crowd there. A lot of very young boys and girls that go on there that want to know about this stuff. And you guys can answer their questions just as well as I do whenever you're on my chat rooms. So please, and I need the support anyway to get this channel off the ground. So go to Twitch, make an account if you don't have one, and seek out Ask a Witch. You know, and that should, you know, follow, subscribe, or whatever you can do there, and that will tell you where I'm at. When I'm online, it'll fly you a message, a text message, or an email, or both. Whatever you elect to do. And you'll be supporting me, you'll be supporting the channel to go into the evening times on Twitch account whenever I can do so. And that will just be by alert only, but I'm on there a lot of the time. Let's see, Ask a Witch. That's the title. And do support me on that. I really would appreciate that. You know, just your signing up as following, you know, and also answering questions for the boys and girls that come in there. And you know that there's a lot of misled drugstore Wiccans out there that don't have the answers, or drugstore witches that don't have the answers. It is free time. That's absolutely right, Siren. That is what I call my free time. I can play my games and do what I want, and I can have fun, but I could still be helping you guys. I could still be helping other people that don't know the answers by bringing you guys that are more learned, actually, than a lot of people on Twitch, bringing you to them so that you can help them understand things. And I think that this is a way that we can all give to the community a little bit. And I appreciate that, Belinda. Making a Twitch account as we speak. That's a good thing to do because, you know, Twitch, me and Austin were actually talking recently. Sir Austin, sorry. We were talking earlier, I think last night actually, that Twitch is going to be the new YouTube of the future. And so you might want to check into that anyway.
I just kind of feel that there's...
And it's a fun time place.
I just kind of feel that Twitch is kind of gives more room for, it kind of gives more room for people to broadcast, you know, whatever they would like. Whereas YouTube, it kind of started out that way, but you know now it's kind of mixed up, and it's very hard to find people that are, it's hard to find new and fresh content on YouTube. You kind of get shuttled towards the most
new platform.
Well, no, the more what I was trying to say is the most popular content creator in your so you know all the streams kind of get moved towards the biggest content creator, you know.
And so it's about the anthill and who's on top.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, me, I'm all about helping whoever I can, and I really don't give a shit who, you know. I really just try to help, and I try to encourage everybody else to help. You know, it's like I said on Earth Day, give back, always give back. And if we keep what we know to ourselves, the knowledge and wisdom will die with us.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the more textbooks, hard-hitting religions will win over and will get pushed down into being hidden underground again. We'll go through another witch trial or whatever, you know.
I just wanted to say before we cut out, also don't forget to if you like this stream and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, and if like it if you liked it, if you didn't like it, dislike it, and let us know what we can improve. Also, if you'd like to leave a small donation, then there's a link in the description below.
And super chat, we've never mentioned that.
Yeah, if you'd like for your comments to be displayed more prominently, then you can leave a super chat on YouTube, and that'll make sure that your
exaggerates your text.
Yeah, it'll make sure that your comment is highlighted so that we can more clearly see your.
You know, and super chat, it's a donation thing, but it also puts your comments to the top of the list. You don't have to support. Nobody is saying that anybody should. Yeah. But if you can, by all means, that would be helpful. You know, but by all means, search us out on Twitch, because, you know, they'll give me a lot more professionalistic tools to work with to help other people. The more people I get on there, because they won't make me a partner on there or highlight me as a creator until I have so much people or this, that, and the other. And this would help us to become sorry about that, Mystic Witch. That will help us to become more prominent within the Wiccan community and help bring the Wiccan community, because it's not on there at all. We would be pioneering Witchcraft Wicca on Twitch because it's not on there. I've looked for weeks and weeks. I have not found Wicca Witchcraft on there. And by the way, people, before any of you leave, and I'm sure we've lost some already, I'll be doing a show probably on Twitch today. So stay on top of that. I intend to go on there. And I don't know if I'll be playing games while I'm talking to you, or if I'll be doing this like we're doing now. But I will be doing a show on Twitch, or we will be doing a show on Twitch today, I'm sure. Let's see. What were you guys talking about? The earlier topic was the Book of Shadows. Then we talked about prejudice and trolling and things of that nature. And so those were the topics. Now we're just closing up the show. And, you know, I always hate saying goodbye to you guys because I really just love this, you know. But I've pretty much covered everything that we needed to. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you here, Luna. It was really good to see you. I don't think I've seen you on the channel before. And for all of you new guys, welcome and bright blessings. You know, it's really been a great show. Anything that you can contribute as far as verbalization and answering new people that come on here, by all means do it. Do it. Contribute your knowledge and wisdom, and it doesn't matter if you're new on the channel but you have a vast amount of knowledge and wisdom in witchcraft, Wicca, Druidism, shamanism, whatever it is that you want to share. This is an eclectic channel, and the energy, yes, is the bomb, and I'm loving it too. You guys, whenever I get off of here, I'm always high as a Georgia pine, you know, and it's on the energy that you guys supply. So, you know, bye-bye, Freaky. It was good to see you. And I'm going to go ahead and say, you enjoy the rest of the day too, Glenn. I love all of you guys. And all of you, take care of yourself. We're going to end the stream here. So don't be bewildered and confused. Bright blessings, Mary Part, and please look us out on Twitch. Ask a Witch is the name.